Sky Squad, we are back in the building, baby. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Listen, I'm super excited to be back. We got a couple of things to talk about today. So, if you are a fan of reality TV, entertainment news, make sure you guys like this video. Hit that like button right now as you come into the room and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Let's get into it, baby. Let's get all the way down into the nitty to the gritty. Now, we got a couple of Atlanta housewives things to cover in today's video. And the first of which is going to be a report that came out, I think it was either yesterday or Friday. I was definitely enjoying my day off yesterday. I am trying to work a little bit less, okay? Just to let you guys know that because I'm trying to maximize the joy in my life, baby. So anyway, so the neighborhood talk, they posted this yesterday. Kenya Moore hair care products will allegedly be discontinued at Sally's Beauty Supply stores amid revenge allegations. Okay, revenge P to be precise. Now, where did this come from? So the source that actually posted this was one of our OG bloggers in the game, OG media outlet, straight from the A, Michelle Brown, posted a clip. Okay, well, it's this post is from a clip from her stream, so I will post the sources in the description of this video so that you guys can go watch and support. Okay, now basically what she read was something that was sent to her, in which the allegation is that Kenya Moore hair care line would be discontinued at Sally's Beauty Supply stores. Now, once you dive further into the post, what you guys will see is that it sounds like this was a decision that was made prior to the Revenge P allegations. So I think it's also important to note that there has been nothing official that has been corroborated by Bravo with regards to what the investigation has yielded. It was Kenya Moore that decided to leave because she didn't allegedly like how she was being treated. I just want to kind of give you guys the rundown because I think it's important to note that we still don't really quite understand what has really transpired here, right? And so a couple of people pointed out, the deal with Sally's was ending prior to the incident that happened during filming. Most Kenya's products are sold in CVS anyway. All right. So just to give you guys a general consensus of what is going on, and I know it sounds confusing based on the way that I am explaining it, but I think if you watch the video that will be in the link in the description down below, you guys will be able to hear it for yourself. All right. In my opinion, all right, you know, when I first heard this yesterday, my first thought wasn't, it wasn't to celebrate because, I think about, just having a Black woman who has her own products in Sally's or in a major retailer. I mean, I just think that that is a monumental achievement in and of itself. And because we haven't gotten the outcome of this whole incident, it's hard to say that this is an after effect, specifically because it's also stated here that this was a decision that had already been made. All right. So check out the links in the description down below so that you guys can hear all of this for yourselves. All right. Now, with regards to a Black-owned business product, this is not a uh, sponsored video or anything like that. This is a recommendation that you guys gave me to go and get some Black Girl Sunscreen, and this is the sunscreen lotion and for face and body. It's 50 SPF. I just wanted to just test it out on my face to see, because what you guys told me was this does not leave the ultralight Casper cast on your face that typically happens with a lot of sunscreens. And so, as you guys can see here, I'm applying it to my face. For those of you guys who are listening, I am applying this to my face. And I think, as you guys can see, while there is, a little bit of, you got to rub it in. But for the most part, y'all, this is looking good. I definitely do not look like the ghost of Christmas past that I look like on most days when I'm applying sunscreen for my daily walks. Okay. So if you guys are interested in a product that will not give you that, that cast look that gets your casket ready, then this is a product that you guys can try. It's called Black Girl Sunscreen. And I think you can get it at Target, but you can also get it, I think, on Amazon.com as well. I went to check. All right. So the next thing that I want to talk to you guys about is what's going on with Porsha and Drew, right? So we know that they unfollowed each other on Instagram. And some people have been thinking that, first of all, I got to hand it to Drew and her team. This is what I had been wanting to see. I want to see content that reflects the fact that you are glowing up, okay? You are glowing up the moment that you enter the reality TV space. Now, that does not mean to go out and live an extravagant life that you cannot afford. It just means to create content that allows you to be seen and as your highest self, right? A higher level version of you. You switched it up on the people, right? So this is what Drew is doing, and I have to say this is the right move. From someone who used to work with social media for public relations organizations, I feel like this is definitely a step in the right direction. But it is the caption that is causing some people to think that she is maybe speaking about Porsha. It is also important to note that Porsha is not mentioned. Porsha is not, there's no directedness to Porsha, but it is simply the association with finding out that that they have both unfollowed each other, okay, and potentially blocked each other. We don't know. But that is the reason why people are finding this post to be very, very subliminally directed at Porsha, because it says, just because you blocked me doesn't mean I'm not going to end up on your timeline. Okay. So, I mean, listen, I feel like Drew is playing the game. Okay. And I'm not necessarily mad at it because she's got the content to go along with it. Now, to take that further, there's another one posted here that says, "Don't use me as a distraction just to manipulate others." Okay. Now, again, you see some people who are commenting below saying, "Don't make me call Porsha. Drew girl, I like you, but stop it." So you never know. And again, these posts, we have to say, in the spirit of objectivity, these could just be posts meant to elicit responses, to elicit engagement. And if that is the case, then she is doing her job. But let's discuss where all of this could possibly stem from. Now, there was an article on BravoTV.com, the Daily Dish, that mentioned Dennis McKinley supporting Drew Sidora, right? So he tagged her in a post. I think this was from March, though, if I am not mistaken. If I go back into the archives, I think it was from March. If you go to, I'll put the link for BravoTV.com in the description down below as well, so you guys can see where it came from. I cannot go to his page simply because I am the blocked. Okay. Anyway, it says, at Drew Sidora, what up? These MFs Hashtag Delulu out here. Okay. Delulu, aka delusional, characterized by or holding false beliefs or judgments about external reality that are held despite incontrovertible evidence to the contrary, typically as a symptom of a mental condition. Now, here it looks as though Drew is in the studio. Perhaps Dennis had some hands. Dennis has his hands, I think, in a lot of things. So I don't know what the situation is down to the Atlanta, if he has his hands in the studio or what. But I don't know if this is maybe a part of the reason for the unfollows, but it's just interesting to note because I was like doing some digging, right? I just wanted to kind of see, and I feel like I saw somebody post this, but I could not remember who. Anyway, just food for thought, all right, to what could be potentially at the root of this drama. But again, we don't know. All right. So I want to talk to you guys a little bit about the episode of Love and Marriage Huntsville that came out last night. Okay, I can't sing, y'all. But y'all better be lucky I can't, okay? Because if I could, if I could, baby, if I could sing, woo, don't you know no good? Okay. So last night's episode on YouTube TV, they say season 8. Okay. I feel like on the smart screeners, they say season 5. Anyway, it's episode 10. It's called New Kids on the Cell Block. Now, when we dive into this episode, I was watching it last night and I was like, wait, where is Melody Cherie? Because by all estimations, for whatever reason, the episode like cut off on me as we was ending the episode right on, because when I go to rewind on my YouTube TV, sometimes it will stop the episode and I'll be like, so then I had to go watch the end of the episode online. Anyway, to get into it further, let's talk about it. So again, where was Melody Cherie in this episode? Was she? I don't even know if she was in the last episode. So I was like, what a go on? Which maybe, because was she on the vacation? Because we do know based on social media that Mel does like her a vacation. And I ain't mad at it. All right. So I was kind of wondering, like, why isn't she in the episodes? If I had to rate this episode on the scale of 1 to 10, I actually give it I would give it a 8.5, 8.9, I think. It did leave me with a lot to talk about. Okay. It did leave me, not really talk about it, but it left me with a lot to think about. And let me know what you would rate the episode in the chatterization down below. All right. So listen, number 1, first thing first, Nell goes to Chris Fletcher's office and they have a conversation about, first of all, that he is helping Sunni and Moses look for some properties. Miss Nell is like, could that be a conflict of interest with Destiny? Because apparently Chris calls Destiny his little sister. Now, when we look at this, objectively speaking, this is my thought about it. Okay, 2 things. Chris is trying to make his money. Okay, he's trying to make the sale. And the man approached him in the week prior or something like that to ask him about, helping him find a house in the Huntsville area. So what I learned from I did an interview with Destiny on her channel was that they did not live in Huntsville. Sunni and Moses lived in St. Louis. Now they want to move to Huntsville because apparently they feel like Huntsville is safer than St. Louis. Is St. Louis that bad? Okay, because I'm trying to think. Have I ever been? I think I have been to St. Louis, but I was there for like a day and a half. And I was, at that point in time, I was working in contracting and I was working with, managing events. And I remember I didn't see much of the city. I just we flew in that night. We went straight to our hotel, straight to set up for the conference. Then we did the conference. We did the conference for day 2. And then on day 2, we always pack up and leave and fly to the next location. So I didn't see much of the city or whatever like that. But the way they make St. Louis sound, even when I think about something that British Williams said when she was in it, I don't think it may have been in the Carlos King interview, but she kind of made it seem like St. Louis was, I mean, they make it seem like a deadly place. All right. So I want to know from you guys, does anybody live in St. Louis? Is it really that bad? Or is it certain parts of the city that are that bad? Anyway, the question is whether or not Destiny will have an issue with Chris selling them some property. And personally speaking, this is Chris's job. So like I really don't in my mind think that it is a conflict of interest. Um could he have a conversation with Destiny? Yeah. But in terms of how he runs his actual business, I mean, no, if they're actually going to do it. But something happens in this episode that leads me to believe that there could be a problem, okay, later on. Because in my mind, I'm like, Chris, if you are showing them a property, from my understanding of the real estate world, okay, and this is me as the novice real estate agent, okay, when you get to the point of showing a property, I usually feel like in order to avoid a mess happening later, you should probably get them to sign some type of agreement. Okay. Whatever that now that agreement could be that y'all is not exclusive. You know what I'm saying? So they could use anybody. Okay, but something needs to be put in writing at upon the time that you decide that this customer is going to become a client. Okay. And I'm going to tell you why later. Okay. It's going to make more sense later because when Sunni and Moses meet up with Kimmy and Maurice later, and they ask Kimmy, because Kimmy inquires about why they didn't use her, then when Sunni and Moses ask, well, can you show us something? And Kimmy's like, no, because technically, if you guys are working with Chris, I cannot do that. Okay. But they didn't let Kimmy know that they did not sign nothing with Chris. So Kimmy has free reign to do that. Now, if Kimmy is, I can't say Kimmy is smart, but because I know she is a smart woman, but I believe Chris to be a smart man. So it boggles my mind that that no one is getting them to sign anything. We saw this play out on Bell Collective, and it did not play out very well. Okay. So I just foresee this being an issue later. It may not, but I see where it could be. Okay. Now having said that, Nell also has some issues with the kids. Okay. The kids, she's having a meltdown because the kids are asking her for all types of money and whatnot. And I'm thinking to myself, and she's overwhelmed. So is Nell the only one giving these kids the moolah, the cash rules, everything around me, cream, get the money, dollar bill, y'all? Or is Chris also giving them the money? Okay. And then my question is, do they know they can go to Nell and then don't go to Chris? And then I would have to say to Miss Nell, you got to start saying no. Miss Mama, like you got to start saying no. If you want to change, I'm about to preach a word to myself. If nothing changes, nothing changes. If you are looking for a different way of life, if you are stressed, overwhelmed, then it is really up to you to change your situation. So, Miss Nell, you're going to have to start setting a boundary with these people And I don't think it take a dinner party to do that. Just say no. Okay. And furthermore, I was looking a little angry at Chris because Miss Nell is telling him she overwhelmed, and then he gonna suggest she cook a dinner for everybody to tell them no, she ain't gonna get them no money no more. So you're gonna invite these people over, you're gonna cater to them, what, and then tell them that you ain't catering to them no more. And I'm looking at Chris. In my mind, she could have slapped you right dead across the face. Now I don't advocate that because I don't advocate no violence. I'm talking metaphorically speaking. Sometimes you ever slap somebody in your mind. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. So my thought to myself at that moment was, she done just told you she overwhelmed, and you begging this woman to make some dinner for everybody. Why don't you, if you see she overwhelmed and she asking you, can you tell a difference in me? Why don't you arrange the dinner party? Why don't you stop by the KFC, the Popeyes on the way home, get a family platter after you leave the retail office, and have these people and get these people some food. And matter of fact, you need to tell them we ain't making no more food for y'all. Y'all gonna have to bring y'all own food for me to tell y'all we ain't giving y'all no money. Okay, how about that? It's a potluck. We doing something new. And nothing changes, nothing changes. All right, so the next thing that we see is, oh, this is a heavy Chris Fletcher episode. Chris goes to show Sunni and Moses, Martell's build, like house that he done built. I don't know why Martell insists on dressing like Uncle. I believe Chris Fletcher might be a little older and still dress more appropriate. I feel like I just want to. I It's something about them drivers that be bothering me with the shorts. I don't know what it is. It really just gives me Uncle at the cookout every time I see him. Let's put you in a loafer. You know what I'm saying? Like, Timberland makes these great loafers. They kind of look like the Sperry's. Everybody's wearing them now. Like, let me get you. Like, let's put you in some of those. If you're gonna be around here, like, let's put you in. Anyway, so there's some talk about Sunni and Moses wanting to escape St. Louis. I don't know if this is about to be investment property or what. There comes up a conversation about whether or not this is a conflict for Chris Fletcher or Martell. And then Martell and Chris Fletcher get into a little bit of a conversation about who's actually neutral. Martell says he's neutral between the Destiny and then the Sunni and Moses of it all, even though Destiny is his little sister. And he confesses that he's neutral on this situation, but if they were to do her wrong, he would have Destiny's back. Now, when Chris Fletcher inserts that he too is neutral with Melody and Martell challenges that he is not. Okay. Now, I would wager to think that the two situations are very, very different in a whole lot of different ways. But what I will say is the whole conversation to me was very awkward. Like, I just didn't quite understand. It just felt awkward with the four of them standing there talking. And I don't know what it was. It was just a general feeling that I had as I was watching the episode. So I don't know. Y'all let me know. Was I the only person that kind of like cringed watching the scene? And I cannot put my finger on why. Martell does admit though that he did do some very bad things in his relationship. And I'm not speaking verbatim, but that's what he said from my recollection. All right, so the next scene that we see is Stormy and Martell. Now, I don't know why Martell is going over to Stormy's warehouse, but Stormy is working. She is, getting the order shipped out. And it comes up that Stormy 2 was, had to go turn herself in for harassing communications. So they talk about the similarity of what happened of the charge itself. I don't see a similarity there, to be very honest with you. I feel that the two situations are very different. One has to deal with DV and the harassing communication that falls under that umbrella, it sounds like to me. Now, I'm no legal expert, but I did tell y'all that I, have a degree in law and order. So that's basically all I'm speaking from. But to me, they sound very, very different. Now, I'm no expert on Alabama law because my law and order degree is really only for the state of nowhere. So it's very difficult for me to really say, but I don't feel like the two situations are very similar at all. Um, I just didn't get it. Okay. I really, really don't. Now, I will be interested to see how, or if this conversation will affect Melody and Stormy's blossoming relationship. It seemed like they were moving in a good direction, but I'm curious to see whether or not this has any effect on the relationship as they move forward. Mostly because this is literally probably the seventh or eighth time that the millimeters have been brought up in the episode. And I just wonder what effect that will have moving forward, particularly at the reunion. Because the general sense that I'm getting is that the cast has an expectation that Melody should say something to the millimeters. Now, the next part of their conversation has a lot more to deal with Latricia and whether or not Martell actually knew her. This conversation to me was very telling because I just felt like, did he not tell us the full truth? Did Latricia not tell us the full truth about his interactions with her? Because from my understanding in the flashback, we got the sense that Latricia had something maybe going on with Martell's brother. But then he also admits that he invited her over at one point in time to see what was up. So I'm like, uh, that's not what was said before. And she never mentioned that. So then why would you, when you get to Stormy's house, act like you don't know her when you definitely invited her over to see what was up and alleges that nothing happened? Now I'm more curious about it because you are alleging that nothing happened and you didn't tell us this in the first place, and she didn't mention it either. So I got to wonder why. And if she was talking to your brother at some point in time, why would you then try to talk to her? And at what point in time was this? Was this when you were divorced, before you met Melody? Like when did this happen? I'm confusion because none of this was mentioned before. Um, moving on. The next scene that we see is Sunny and Moses are going to meet with Kimmy and Maurice. Now, Sunny's stance in this episode to me seemed markedly different from how she had positioned herself before. Um, Before she seemed very rah-rah against Destiny, like fired up. Now it's almost like, did somebody have a talking to her? Because she seemed very much like, oh, well, I hope we can get to a neutral place because I don't dislike her. That may be very hard to do when you have spent a good majority of the first few episodes calling her a side chick. Um, so I don't know. And Kimmy and Maurice seem to wrestle with this idea that, how will Destiny feel about them interacting with Sunny and Moses and getting to know them? But we learned that for Kimmy, it's different because Sunny was there for her while she was going through her battle with cancer. So I can reasonably assume that that would definitely change her perspective on Sunny. Um, yeah. We learn a lot more about Sunny and Moses' relationship. We learn about, that Moses has been in and out of, prison, at a very young age, which, the fact that he's talking about it is I guess, I mean, that's pretty major. And they can identify with Sunny and Moses wanting to get out of St. Louis and move to a place that feels safer. Maurice talks about growing up in a similar environment, and we just learn a lot more about who Sunny and Moses are, specifically Moses. And so you really start to see Kimmy and Maurice warm up to them a bit more and invite them to some sort of tasting that is happening at one of their restaurant properties that they're doing something with. I can't recall what they're doing. And they asked Sunny and Moses, is it rubbing salt in the wound for Destiny if they move there? And they just kind of like, well, we just want a different life for ourselves. I mean, I don't know. I wish that if Sunny had came into the season with this energy that she has now, I think that her interactions with Destiny and with some of the cast, like namely like Letitia, might have been a little bit different if she had come in a little more, like a little gentler with regards to understanding how the situation may have affected Destiny. All right. So our final scene is really Miss Nell telling the kids that she does not want to support them no more. I don't really have much to say about this. I felt like it was a bit over dramatized to a certain degree because I am of the mindset that we don't need to make this a big thing. When you ask me the next time, I'm just going to say no. And that's just going to be that in the story. Like, I cannot help you today. You're going to have to figure this out on your own. I have already given you money. If you want money, you're going to have to come work for me. Okay. You're going to have to come work for me at the daycare center. All right. And if you don't want to work for me at the daycare center, then I cannot help you. All right. How about that? End of story. So next week, we're going to see Latricia's ex come on to the show. Okay. I still did not see any of Mel in the preview, so I'm wondering, was she on a like extended vacation? I mean, like, I don't know. But I did feel like her energy was missing from the episode. So, I don't know. I guess when I think about it, Love and Marriage, not Love and Marriage, but Love and Hip Hop does that quite frequently where everyone's not in every episode. So maybe with such an expanded cast, it is difficult to fit everybody in. I don't know. But she's still an executive producer, so I'm sure she's still getting a check. Anyway, y'all let me know what y'all thought of this episode of Love and Marriage Huntsville. That is all the tea that we have for you guys for today. Make sure you guys keep it locked onto the channel. Y'all, we still are going to our trip to Thailand. Make sure you guys tap into that. We still have some spaces open for Bali. So if you are interested in perhaps traveling with us to Bali, do that. I do show you guys how you can get round trip tickets for under $180. It was actually $150, but I decided to get the trip insurance coverage to cover my costs, just in case anything happened. So if you are thinking that you want to travel, but you don't really know how you're going to pay for the flight, or the flights always seem so expensive, I show you in this video how I booked a trip to Japan in August for $180. Okay. So when people tell you that they want to travel and they want to travel overseas, but they have all these excuses about why they can't do it, I help you guys get over that because you can definitely do it for very, very cheap. Okay. You just got to use your resources. And in that video, I show you how. That video resides on my personal channel, Richie Skye in Real Life. So be sure to check that out. With that being said, make sure you guys keep it locked to the channel, subscribe to this channel. Make sure you guys tap into the membership community. I will be doing a review of Supercell. I'm also gonna review. There was another show that I recently just watched. Some shows that I don't actually get a chance to talk about on this, like on this specific channel, I'll get to do in my membership community. So be sure to keep it locked for that. And with that being said, I will catch you in the next video.